Vincent Moretti ran a hand across his close-cropped hair. His eyes, sharp and calculating, scanned the luxurious penthouse suite. It was a temporary haven, a place to strategize. He wasn't a man who enjoyed the trappings of wealth. Not really. This was about something bigger. Moretti moved to the large glass window. The city sprawled beneath him, a glittering tapestry of light and shadow. He saw it as a giant chessboard, each building, each street corner a potential pawn in his game. He was about to play the most audacious move of his life. He wasn't a gambler, not in the traditional sense. Every decision, every calculated risk was meticulously planned. Years of preparation had led to this moment. There was no room for error. Failure wasn't an option. This heist, this masterpiece, it wasn't just about acquiring wealth. It was about sending a message that echoed through the halls of power, a message that whispered, "You are not untouchable." Moretti wasn't driven by greed. He had no need for another mansion, another yacht, another meaningless trinket. This went beyond simple material desire. This was personal. Years ago, they had taken everything from him, his family, his reputation, his freedom. They had stripped him bare and left him to rot. But he had survived. He had rebuilt himself in the shadows, and now it was his turn. This heist, the target wasn't an object, it was a symbol of the corruption that had poisoned his life. He would strike at the heart of it all, expose them for what they truly were. He would take back what was stolen from him, not in kind, but in significance. He would make them understand the depth of their crimes, the pain they had inflicted. This wasn't about revenge, it was about justice.
Lena Zhang, the ghost, could slip through the tightest security systems like a phantom. Her fingers danced across keyboards, leaving no trace. She was the architect of the impossible, a master of digital infiltration.
Sofia Delgado, the alchemist, could forge anything from ancient artifacts to modern passports. Her knowledge of chemistry and artistry was unparalleled. She could create the illusion of authenticity, fooling even the most discerning eye.
Jamal Khalid, the Shadow, moved with the grace of a predator, a master of stealth and deception. He could blend into any crowd, disappear in plain sight. His skills of observation were unmatched, his every move calculated and precise.
Together, they were Moretti's instruments, each chosen for their unique talents. They were the finest in their fields, bound by a shared purpose and unshakable loyalty.
Detective Emily Harrington stared at the case files spread across her desk. Each one, seemingly unrelated, a puzzle piece waiting to be connected. There was a pattern here, a rhythm to the chaos. She could feel it in her gut. Emily wasn't one to back down from a challenge. Her reputation as a tenacious, almost obsessive investigator preceded her. She had a knack for seeing the connections that others missed, for unraveling the most complex of knots. The more she delved into the files, the more convinced she became. These weren't isolated incidents. This was the work of a single mastermind, someone operating on a level she hadn't encountered before. She could feel the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. This wasn't just about catching a thief. This was about preventing something bigger, something that could shake the city to its core. Emily traced her finger across a map of the city, marking each incident with a red pushpin. A jewelry store heist, a cyber attack on a government server, the disappearance of a renowned art forger. Each event, meticulously planned, flawlessly executed. The pattern was undeniable. The targets weren't random. Each one represented a piece of a much larger puzzle. But what was the end game? What was the mastermind trying to achieve? She had a hunch, a gut feeling. But she needed more than intuition. She needed evidence. Something concrete to connect the dots. She knew she was racing against time, chasing a ghost through the city streets. The pressure was mounting, the stakes rising with each passing hour. She could feel the weight of every stolen artifact, every compromised system pressing down on her. Failure wasn't an option.
A breakthrough came in the form of a fingerprint, a partial smudged print lifted from the scene of the cyber attack. It was a long shot, but it was all Emily had. The results came back with a match. Lena Zheng.
Emily pulled up Zheng's file. A known associate of Vincent Moretti, a notorious criminal mastermind presumed dead for years. Her blood ran cold. If Moretti was back, then this was bigger than she could have imagined. She had stumbled onto something monumental, something that could make or break her career. But more importantly, something that could have devastating consequences for the city. She had to stop them. The pieces were falling into place, forming a terrifying picture. Moretti was planning something big, something audacious. And Emily was the only one who could stop him.
Moretti's hideout was a fortress, a nondescript warehouse on the docks, its interior a labyrinth of steel and concrete. Security cameras blanketed every angle, motion sensors hummed silently in the shadows. It was a place designed to keep secrets.
Almost through the second firewall. Just a few more seconds.
Inside, the team was hard at work. Lena's fingers flew across her keyboard, bypassing firewalls and cracking encryption codes.
These blueprints are a work of art, but they have their flaws.
Sophia meticulously examined a blueprint, her tools laid out before her like a surgeon's instruments.
Smooth and silent, just like always.
Jamal practiced his movements, a silent wraith gliding through the shadows. The air was thick with tension, the silence broken only by the rhythmic tapping of keys and the soft clink of tools. Each member of the team knew the stakes, the potential consequences of failure. But there was no fear, only a steely determination to see the plan through to the end. Moretti observed his team, a ghost of a smile playing on his lips. They were the best, each one a master of their craft. He had chosen them carefully, knowing they were the only ones who could pull this off. He wasn't a man prone to sentimentality, but he felt a grudging respect for their dedication. They were bound to him, not by fear or greed, but by a shared purpose, a belief in something greater than themselves. The air crackled with anticipation, the silence pregnant with unspoken words. They all knew what was coming, the final act, the culmination of years of planning and preparation. And then, silence. Moretti checked his watch. The time was drawing near. He drew a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. The game was about to begin. Emily raced against time, her mind working overtime. She had Moretti's hideout, but she knew storming the place was a losing proposition. She needed a plan, a way to catch them off guard.
Think, Emily, think. How do we outsmart a mastermind?
She studied the blueprints of the target, a high-security vault containing priceless artifacts. Moretti wasn't after money. He was after something far more valuable: information that could bring down the most powerful people in the city. She needed to anticipate his next move, predict the unpredictable. It was a game of chess, and she was playing against a grandmaster. But Emily was no pawn. She would use his arrogance against him, turn his meticulous planning into his downfall.
Listen up, everyone. I've got a plan. It's risky, but it's our best shot. We're not out of this yet.
A plan began to form in her mind, a risky gamble, but one that just might work. She gathered her team, her voice firm, her gaze resolute. They were outmatched, outgunned, but not out of the game. Not yet. The city lights blurred beneath them as Moretti's team moved with precision. They were ghosts, shadows slipping through the night. Tonight they would rewrite history. Tonight they would become legend.
Alarms are down. We're clear to proceed.
Lena's fingers danced across her keyboard, disabling alarms and granting them passage.
Credentials accepted. We're in.
Sophia's forged credentials bypassed security checkpoints, her work flawless.
Path is clear. Let's move.
Jamal, a wraith in the darkness, cleared the path, his every movement calculated. Each step brought them closer to their target, the tension ratcheting up with every passing second. This was it, the point of no return, the culmination of years of planning, of sacrifice, of unwavering belief. Failure was not an option, not tonight.